衛隊の松島基地も大きな被害を受けています。そしてこちら格納庫ですかね。格納庫にあるこの戦闘機か飛行機か、こちらも津波によって被害を受けています。津波があった時にこの中から出ようとしていたのか、もしくは中から押し出されたのかは分かりませんが、手前にはドラム缶のようなものも並んでいます。その周りに人の姿は確認できません。そしてこちらは飛行機が、先ほどの飛行機とはまた別の飛行機ですね。頭の方がその施設の方に突き刺さるような状況になっています。建物の窓にこのように船首といいますか、飛行機の頭が突っ込んだような状況になっています。この飛行機は津波で流された模様です。この中に建物にどなたがいたのか、そして被害がどれほどあるのかという情報は私たちの手元にはまだ入ってきていませんが、今ちょうど画面右下にはたくさんの人がいらっしゃいますが、こちらにはまた別の飛行機ですね。日の丸を背負ったこの自衛隊の飛行機が建物と建物の間に挟まるように今この場所に止まっています。ブルーインパルスという飛行機という情報も入ってきています。こちらは戦闘機でしょうか。そして
元野さん、画面
はい、
下の方にたくさんの人が見えますね。
はい、ちょっとこちらも確認いたしましょう。画面の下の方に確認いたしますと、おそらく自衛隊の方々、今これ滑走路をあれ整備されている
そうですね、
状況ですね。
点検整備かもしれませんね。
おそらく、今後この辺りの、
have been repeating, and in places where there were big aftershocks, there could be possibility of buildings further collapsing. And the areas where tsunami advisory is issued is the coastal lines of the Pacific in Hokkaido, in the north, in the central part and in west, and the Pacific coast of Aomori, Iwate, Miyagi, Fukushima, Ibaraki, and the Kujukuri coast of Chiba, Izu Islands, Ogasawara Islands, southern Mie, Wakayama, Kochi, Miyazaki. Those are the places that have are still under tsunami advisory. As for the aftershocks, because of significant jolt, as of at 8:25 actually, there was another aftershock, and we observed an intensity of 5 in the Japanese scale of 0 to 7. And for a meantime, we believe that aftershocks will continue, so please be careful.
Rescue teams coming from overseas are set to arrive in Japan's northeastern region, which was hit by Friday's massive earthquake and tsunami.
We are, of course, nervous, but in a positive way. We have trained for this sort of work. We know what we have to do, and now we have the chance to help people in Japan.
A German team of about 40 rescue personnel and search dogs left for Japan on Saturday. France has announced a dispatch of 2 rescue teams. A British group of 63 rescue personnel and doctors left for Japan on Saturday night. China is also sending more than 10 rescue personnel to Japan. An American team is heading to its Misawa base in Aomori Prefecture, northern Japan on Sunday. The nuclear-powered aircraft carrier USS Ronald Reagan will start operations on Sunday. Russian Prime Minister Vladimir Putin held a cabinet meeting on Saturday. He vowed to provide support to Japan. He also ordered preparations to increase supplies of natural gas to Japan from the Sakhalin-2 project for shortages of electricity. The United Nations decided to send 7 members of its disaster assessment and coordination team to oversee the operations by various nations. And we repeat our top story at this hour. Japan's meteorological agency has upgraded Friday's massive earthquake that hit the Pacific coast of northeastern Japan from magnitude 8.8 to 9.0. The agency made that correction on Sunday morning after analyzing seismic waves and other data. The magnitude is equivalent to that of the powerful 2004 earthquake off Sumatra, Indonesia, that triggered massive tsunamis in the Indian Ocean. The Tokyo Electric Company now describes the situation at the Fukushima No. 1 nuclear power plant as an emergency. It says the level of radiation is beyond acceptable government standards. It has ranked the accident at the plant at level 4 on an international scale of 0 to 7. Two radioactive substances, cesium and iodine, were detected near the No. 1 reactor at the plant on Saturday. Their presence indicates nuclear fission of uranium has occurred. The Nuclear and Industrial Safety Agency says that fuel in the reactor partially melted. It's the first time such an accident has happened in Japan. A level 4 on the International Nuclear Event Scale means the fuel has been damaged and the significant quantities of radioactive material has been released within an installation. It's the same level as a criticality accident that happened in 1999 at a nuclear fuel reprocessing plant in Tokai Village in Ibaraki Prefecture, south of Fukushima. Meanwhile, Tokyo Electric Power Company says the cooling pumps at the Fukushima No. 3 reactor failed. Chief Cabinet Secretary Yukio Edano says an operation is in effect to release air from the No. 3 reactor to lower the pressure inside and to pump water in. Now you're looking at footage of Kesenuma in Miyagi Prefecture, which has been devastated by fire and tsunami following the earthquake.
Please say something you can see.
Now you can see footage of Kesenuma, Miyagi Prefecture. We're looking at the people standing on the rooftop waiting to be rescued. Kesenuma, Miyagi Prefecture was hit the hardest. The quake intensity there measured 7 on the Japanese scale of 0 to 7. The Kesenuma city went up in flames after oil leaked from a tank following a tsunami. And now you're seeing right now the devastation that occurred after the flames, after the earthquake, the tsunami. As many as 10,000 people have been out of contact in Miyagi Prefecture ever since the devastating earthquake and tsunami. You're watching NHK World Newsline. And we're going to leave it with this footage of Kesenuma, Miyagi Prefecture, and we'll be back with more updates later on. You're watching NHK World News. I'm Sherry Yan. We have a Newsline, NHK World Newsline exclusive. Japan's meteorological agency says the magnitude of Friday's massive earthquake that hit the Pacific coast of northeastern Japan was 9 instead of 8.8 as announced earlier. We're reiterating this is an exclusive of NHK World Newsline. There's once again the Japan Meteorological Agency says the magnitude of Friday's massive earthquake that hit the Pacific coast of northeastern Japan was 9.0 instead of 8.8 as announced earlier. That this 9.0 magnitude earthquake is close to the earthquake back in the Indian Ocean off Sumatra Island back in 2004, which left 200,000 people dead. We reiterate, Japan's meteorological agency says the magnitude of Friday's massive earthquake that hit the Pacific coast of northeastern Japan was 9.0 instead of 8.8 as announced earlier. This is close to the Indian Ocean earthquake back in 2004 off Sumatra Island that left more than 200,000 people dead. Now we go to another story. The Tokyo Electric Company now describes the situation at the Fukushima No. 1 nuclear power plant as an emergency. It says the level of radiation is beyond acceptable government standards. It has ranked the accident at the plant a level 4 on an international scale of 0 to 7. Two radioactive substances, cesium and iodine, were detected near the #1 reactor at the plant on Saturday. Their presence indicates nuclear fission of uranium has occurred. The Nuclear and Industrial Safety Agency says that fuel in the reactor partially melted. It's the first time such an accident has happened in Japan. A level 4 on the International Nuclear Event Scale means that fuel has been damaged and that significant quantities of radioactive material has been released within an installation. It's the same level as a criticality accident that happened in 1999 at a nuclear fuel reprocessing plant in Tokai Village in Ibaraki Prefecture south of Fukushima. Meanwhile, Tokyo Electric Power Company says the cooling pumps at the Fukushima #3 reactor failed. Chief Cabinet Secretary Yukio Edano says an operation is in effect to release air from the #3 reactor to lower the pressure inside and to pump water in.
Measures to enhance safety have been taken. Minor amount of radioactive air is being emitted, but this is being done under procedure to cope with the situation and is under control. The radiation is not a level that is harmful to human body.
At the #2 plant, temperatures in the 3 reactors also remain higher than normal. The temperatures of coolant water have exceeded 100 degrees Celsius, up from the usual 30 degrees.
The Nuclear and Industrial Safety Agency official says that power has been lost, but everything possible is being done to try to cool the reactor so far. As for the lost power source, the power plant is waiting for a mobile power generator van to arrive, but it is taking time.
The government is sending teams to evacuation centers where they will screen people who have been isolated for exposure to radiation. The mass evacuation of people living around the damaged nuclear power plants in Fukushima Prefecture is underway. Some 210,000 residents started evacuating this morning. The government expanded the evacuation area around the Fukushima #1 nuclear power plant from 10 to 20 kilometers on Saturday. It also expanded the evacuation area around the #2 plant from 3 to 10 kilometers. Fukushima Prefecture has announced that 19 people have so far been found to have been exposed to radiation. They were in a hospital within a 20-kilometer radius of the Fukushima #1 power plant. The prefecture says it does not think they are in any risk of danger. Earlier, Professor Naoto Sekimura at the University of Tokyo gave us his analysis on the present state of the containment vessel of the #1 reactor at the Fukushima #1 nuclear power plant.
In the reactor, we have the fuel, and it is in a condition of high temperature. And so we have to cool the reactor itself. And in order to cool the reactor, what is needed is to put water into this container, this part, yes. And we are supposed to place water. Not the pressure vessel, but the overall container. And for that, we need a large volume of water. And to find water, we will be using seawater. And then we'll be able to fill the whole container itself. However, wouldn't the seawater leak? But you're going to fill it, right? Yes. When the container is filled, we'll be able to cool the pressure container. But of course, there will be some radiation inside the container. So therefore, the seawater that will be filled here will contain radioactive material. So therefore, we need to make sure that we will be able to contain the water which may leak, and management is required. And so by putting in the seawater,